The multiverse of Project Red is already expanding, so let's talk about the newest entry. Hello everyone, it's thomasjujube, and before I talk about the first episode of Kakusei Hunter Omegahorn, please let me know what you thought of this episode down in the comment section. What were you expecting going into it? What did you get out of it? Are you looking forward to what's happening next? I must say, I am so incredibly excited. And part of it's because of Gavan Infinity, which I really wasn't expecting. Make sure you check out my previous video where I reviewed all of Gavan Infinity if you'd like to check out my thoughts on the previous entry in Project Red, which does seem like will be important for this entry, which I wasn't expecting to this level, but I will talk about that later because it doesn't really have to do with this first episode. The first episode itself was honestly probably one of the best premieres I've seen in a minute. Part of it is because it was so different from our modern standard tokusatsu standards, videos, shows, whatever, movies. Like, we figured this going into it, so it's not like a surprise, but just actually experiencing it is so crazy because it's not a Henshin Hero show, which we've pretty much are most of the modern toku shows. And it's not like everyone's a suit show. Like, it is this really fun in-between. Because we do have a Henshin hero. Like, Shout is in this thing. But, like, he's not using... We get one fight with the suit. But, like, in-universe, the suit is, like... Anna even says it's just, like, a exploration suit. It's not a combat suit. He already appears with it used. He uses it, like, nonchalantly at one point just to explore. And I think that's really fun. We do later get a full stock footage sequence, though, which is really cool. And the other stock footage sequences, we get one for like all of the kakuju, and I love the fights in this with the kakuju. We do not get like a standard suit versus suit kind of fight in this thing, and I like we get two kinds of fights. We establish like two styles of fighting that we'll probably be getting throughout the show. First one is of course our just person versus person fight. What I like about this one is that they are augmented using the Kakuju powers. I think that's pretty cool. And like the build up to the fight also feels just very Toku with, again, like we get a stock footage of the guy's mace expanding after he summons his Kakuju. We get Kiriko summoning hers, and she gets like a little mini henshin sequence just for a mask. But like even the summoning of her Kakuju was really cool. I really like this world they've set up with the Omegahorns and the Kakuju for a few reasons. First of all, just the fights have this fun energy. Like, I love how integrated the gimmick is into the show, where the battles are, like, they're using the horns as horns to announce themselves. Like, they're shouting their, I am blah blah blah, and this is my friend blah blah blah, and we're gonna blah blah blah. Like, all of them are doing that. I think that's a really fun gimmick to do with our gimmick of an Omegahorn. And later, Shout is even using it to call out attacks and stuff like that. So, you know, I know we've been saying it's like Pokemon, but it is clearly Pokemon where they're summoning their monsters and they're fighting, they're calling out attacks. But I like the little twist where the toy is being used to to call out the attacks and stuff. That's also how we got our second fight later, which is definitely more of a kind of what we were expecting fight with Kaiju versus Kaiju. I do like how they start off with Shout trying to fight a kaiju. Shout's a very interesting character, and then when we get into full-on kaiju versus kaiju with Enkaku and CG Gokaku, I thought that was that was the highlight of the episode, obviously, finally seeing Enkaku in his glory. So the world is in a really interesting place for me in this show. I really like world building, so I like how they established how the Kakuju used to rule the world, blah blah blah, and there was a previous Captain Omegahorn, and then something happened. Shout refers to that as the Age of Omega. Now we're in the Age of Hunters, where the Kakuju are now ancient mythical beings, and our current populace is utilizing them for powers. I'm really interested because obviously it's probably going to be a big thing, like what happened in the in-between to turn Kakuju into Egor gears, because what's his face, Enkaku has a moment where he's like, this is an Egor gear, this is what sealed us. So he doesn't know what they are. That's not how they used to work. Like, the Egor gears were not an ancient thing for the Kakuju. So, knowing that the Egor gears are remolds of gavan Infinity Emor gears, that's kind of what makes me interested in, like, is that tying into gavan Infinity? Like, is it Azazolth that sealed them, or like a follower of Azazolth? This is the cool thing, like, we can wonder what aspects of the other show is gonna kind of flow into this one. And then we have the Eval Alliance Zetsu, which, interestingly enough, does not do anything in this episode. Like, they're really just here to establish themselves as, for the audience, like, these are other character hunters that we have. But the hunter fights are between just, like, random hunter people, which I think is a cool element, like, that we are going to be getting, like, multi-faction stuff happening with all these different characters. Like, Kiriko is her own faction as well. But we do have, I guess, a looming threat with the Eval Alliance. And of course, there are tons of questions there. Like, we know Ibaru has a Zetsu Enkaku. So, we don't even know what the Zetsu versions of them are. We see every main Kakuju we're gonna get as toys has a Zetsu equivalent in the flashback opening scene. So are they like a different species, like rival species? Is like Ibaru just working with them just for the love of the game and whatever? And they also have like all the Egor gears that they stole from other hunters, they said, and they're trying to protect the world. That's what Ibaru says. So like, how? Because they're all dressed in black and they look very suspiciously like bad guys. I quite like Shout as a character. I wasn't expecting to like him that much. Like, there's the little things, like the gimmicky things. Like, I love that, again, his suit is pretty cool. He has a helmetless scene in his suit, which is really fucking awesome. But I actually do like that he's kind of reluctant to be a hunter. Like, he's like, no, I don't really want to do this. It is kind of weird how he gets the Egor gear with Enkaku, and he's just like, yeah, I guess I'll work with this Kakuju. I guess it is because he does have this interest in the ancients. So when an ancient is right here, he's like, I gotta lock in. I gotta work with one of them. But I guess he doesn't want to do the hunter battle thing, which I guess makes sense. I do really like his interactions with the other characters as well. Like, Anna, I didn't know that was going to be a character. I knew that the analyzer had a voice, but like, I didn't know she'd be yapping at him the whole time, and she's so sassy. Like, she's like, dude, if you keep this up, you're gonna die. Or she's like, he doesn't want to show Enkaku around. She's like, why not show him around? Like she's already like playing off of him in a fun way, and she doesn't, I guess she is AI, but like she doesn't really seem to be like, she's like Jarvis, I guess. And Anna, show me this Kakuju's balls. Sorry. And then that creates a fun dynamic with Enkaku. And Enkaku, I said initially that I was a little upset that they were giving the kaiju a human form, because I thought the whole point of the show was to do like kaiju stuff. We do have Enkaku talking in kaiju form for a little bit, so I get that wish. And then the human dynamic is actually a lot of fun. I like that he's, at least in this episode, we'll see what happens next time, because I like the Shout teaching him like about the modern day, but there's also the aspect he was just like he's a creature. Like, it's not like showing a human the modern day even. So it's like two layers of weirdness, and then the fact he's like, this is Captain Omegahorn, what are you guys doing? Like, why aren't you fighting with me? Like, he's so big and loud. Literally, he's a very tall man. And I think I'm really looking forward to this dynamic with him and Shout and Anna. And Kiriko, I think, is also going to add to this dynamic, because she seems to be maybe our like secondary huntress character. The reason I say that is because like she's portrayed more like the hero in this episode, saving the town from the other guy. And she has an interest in like Enkaku having a human form. I love that he has a transformation sequence into the kaiju form. So I am interested to see how she'll come into the fray. Like, maybe she will push us in the direction of fighting the Alliance, stuff like that. And then our episode ends with Shout going, I don't really care about hunters and stuff like that. I care about that. And it's a Cosmo Kavarian in the beach, which is, again, a pretty cool visual to have the last season's mecha destroyed, and like this just part of this season's atmosphere environment. And of course, As we've been discussing, Reiji is one of the bad guys. He even has a kakuju. He has the crab. He doesn't say anything in this episode. They do very like kind of, they're like, hey, who's that? Who do you think that is? And then the screen goes Reiji. I forgot to mention, I do like how every single character gets a little title card on the corner. I think that's, I don't know, there's like a nice flavor to this show with all the world building stuff like that. We don't get really any answers on what Reiji's doing here. Like, it's the same that we've known before. Reiji is in this show. How did he get here from the end of gavan Infinity? What is he doing here on the bad guy's side? There is like this line where Ibaru says like, we've rounded up rogue hunters and now they're gonna work for us, and then it cuts to Reiji, but he's like in the top part of this alliance, so I don't think he's a new hunter or anything like that, which does actually, the Cosmic Gavarian crash there does bring up this interesting question of like, is that, first of all, is that Reiji's? Second of all, if it is, like, how long has he been here? Because that thing is destroyed and like rusted and all that. Like, that would be an interesting aspect if like reality time warps and he's been here a minute, and that's why he's part of the alliance. We have been wondering if Shout's exploration suit is like based on a gavan or anything, because it has gavan parts, and I'm going to assume that he's taken parts of the Gavarion, or he's like reverse engineered it, and then that made his combat suit. And that's really fucking cool that our main character's suit of this show is like an OC version of characters from last show. Like, it just keeps getting cooler, the connections. And then the big connection is, I'm going to talk preview stuff. I usually don't talk about previews in all of these videos, reviews, but in the preview for next week, we get Luminous Bushido and Moa and Koto. Like, we knew they were going to appear in the show. They were in the trailer, but I was not expecting them to appear in episode 2. Like, literally, they had a week off screen, and now they're back, and we don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're only in the end part, and they're gonna appear in, like, the background or stuff, which is still very cool to have our 2 secondary characters appearing as characters in this show. And the fact Amol and Koto are with them, I was not expecting the side characters to come along too. I thought it would just be our gavan. And it's really funny because in the preview, we've got Koto like hitting Setsuna or something, and it's like, that's what I wanted from your show. Like, the fact that now we get these 4 characters interacting, working together. Kiki and Setsuna like have dialogue with each other. That's crazy. They never did that before. So I'm like, it's like wish fulfillment from another show. And like, I don't know what to expect from this show anymore, because this has blown all of my expectations out of the water in terms of like interconnected universe stuff. So let me know what you think is going to happen with the gavan Infinity crew and what you hope will happen in Kakusei Hunter Omegahorn. Subscribe to this channel because I will be doing weekly short reviews up until the end of the show, and I hope to see you next time.